I am happy to bring you 3 watches in a series from the Norlight collection from MMI Watches. The first one is going to be the Japanese Washi paper dial that's handmade, just absolutely gorgeous. Then the 2 other watches in the Norlight series to include, like the Northern Lights illuminated dial is going to be the next one, and then we'll get into the sapphire translucent dial in the third video. Again, series of 3. If you're interested in those, check them out as they come out tomorrow and the next day. Now, what are we talking about? Today, we are talking about a amazing watch that is featured right now on Kickstarter. It has about 2 weeks left in its campaign. And if you want a great deal on a great watch, continue to watch this video and then check out the link down below. Now, let's hop into the review. The Japanese Washi paper dial. This thing, I think, is just incredible. Now, first, it comes in a watch roll, which is also nice to see. Watch rolls are one of those things that are important when traveling because you want to make sure that you can take more than one watch. Now, inside is a leather strap and a NATO strap. We'll get into the measurements and I'll explain to you why you can use almost any strap to include my strap. But we'll go ahead and talk about the watch first. This one that I have here from MMI Watches is a series of 3 in the Norlight series. Now, this is the Japanese Washi paper dial with sapphire on top, and we'll get into the macro shots in just a moment. Now, the case of this is 316L surgical stainless steel, which is just slightly different from what we're used to. We're used to just a 316L stainless steel. They instead use an upgraded surgical stainless steel, so it just, is just a little bit better. The case diameter of this is 39.5 millimeters. It is 12 millimeters thick. The lug to lug is 46.5, so it's a great footprint on the wrist. And the lug width of this is going to be 20 millimeters. So you can fit nearly any watch strap on this, which is really great to see. The case of this watch, now all 3 watches are the same when it comes to the case and bracelet. This is going to be a high polish, again 316L surgical stainless steel, but because it's high polish, it's going to pick up fingerprints. That's just one of the things that you're going to have to deal with. On the other side, what I was told is the crown is going to be slightly larger on the actual production model. This is just a prototype, so the crown is going to be slightly bigger by about 1.5 millimeters. The bracelet is the same type of stainless steel, except it is a 5-link bead bracelet. You can see it's brushed along the outside, high polished along the inside, really nice because it's going to fit the wrist even better. Now, it starts at 20 millimeters, it tapers down to 18, and it has both a pressed and milled clasp. Fold over, double pusher, milled clasp, and it also has 5 levels of micro adjustment, which is really good to see. Now, to change the lengths, you're going to have to use a screwdriver, but it's nice that this didn't use push pins, that they actually used screw pins instead. Now, on the back side, it does have a case back that has, let's see if I can get a video of this, that it has the factory that the Washi paper dial actually came out of. This is really good to see. I'm really happy that they are paying homage to who did the dial. Now that we're looking at the case back, you can see that it displays the movement inside, which is an automatic Miyota 9039. This is Miyota's higher end movement, and it actually does a really good job at doing everything it needs to do. Now, one of the things that a lot of micro brands tend to do that other companies will not do is cheapen out on the movement. Now, this is a no date. You can see there's no date on the movement. Well, the Miyota 9039 is a no date movement. We've all looked at micro brands, especially in the YouTube community, where the micro brand will use a NH35 or something similar that has a date in it built into the movements. You pull it out one time and it goes into a ghost date position. Not like that. They use the correct movement, which is really great to see. Pull it out and it does have hacking and hand winding, and the movement is very smooth when you use it. Now, we're going to talk about the dial in just a minute, but first, covering the dial is a single dome piece of sapphire crystal. Not only is it a single dome piece of sapphire crystal, but it has an air coating on the underside. So unlike Omega that has both, now if you have any air coating on the outer side, even if it's sapphire, it'll tend to scratch off. It'll look like scratches, but it's not. Air coating on the underside, which is really good to see. Now the Miyota movement beats at 28,800 vibrations an hour, so it is technically a high beat movement. This thing ticking at 8 ticks a second, so the sweep is much more smoother than most watches. The power reserve on this is 42 hours. Now let's talk about this beautiful creamed dial. Now the dial is made of washi paper. Now the process is something that I can try to explain, but I know that there's 3 layers of washi paper and it's hand done. Now what's so great about washi paper? Well, every dial is unique. Sort of like a linen dial, this is unique to every single watch. So there's going to be some imperfections on each watch that is going to be indicative and unique of that very watch. Now we're going to do some macro shots and you see exactly what I'm talking about. Now everything is done perfectly on the piece of sapphire that's over the washi paper, and you'll see that there's some shadowing that goes on when it comes to the indices and when it comes to something like the automatic. When you look at the automatic written just above the 6, it almost looks like there is a shadow, and there is, because there's 3-dimensional when it comes to printing on top of the sapphire. Then there's a slight space between the sapphire and then the washi dial. It's just really cool. It gives it a really nice depth to the dial. Same thing when it comes to the indices. The indices look extremely 3-dimensional, and they are slightly 3-dimensional, but not extremely 3-dimensional. The 12, the 2, the 4, the 6, the 8, and the 10, really cool to see that they used even numbers as opposed to the 12, 3, 6, and 9 that everybody else uses. And they have really nice, sharp arrow indices at the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, and the 11. One of the things I also love about this are the hands. Everything on this watch to me is unique. I haven't seen any watches, and I've done over 400 videos on this channel, and this is not an homage to anything else. This is extremely unique. Everything is done perfectly to include the little screws at the 9 and the 3. The washi paper dial itself to me is also pretty cool in the fact that you can see, like down here, like there's just some imperfections in it because it's hand done, it's handmade. And you rarely see something that's hand done or handmade at a price point on their Kickstarter campaign right now. So let's go ahead and toss this on my 7¼ inch wrist. And here's the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist. This thing fits perfectly. The 46.5 millimeter lug to lug means that it's going to fit in most wrists perfectly. This thing is so comfortable, especially with the 5-link beaded bracelet, right? It almost feels like a Rolex presidential bracelet because the smaller links allow it to curve around your wrist far more comfortably. And with the 5 micro adjustments on the clasp, this thing is going to fit perfect almost every single time. With the single domed sapphire crystal with the AR coating on the underside, it's going to be really good at anti-reflecting the light so you can read it quite nicely. This thing is perfect. Honestly, I could see me wearing this in a suit and enjoying it for the rest of my YouTube career. Now, are you excited as I am about MMI watches, especially these 3 in the series of the Norlite series? My favorite is the washi paper dial. My next is in fact, they are as favorite to least favorite in the series that I am releasing them. However, if you're interested in any of these, they're great deals, and they use the highest quality materials on the market outside of precious metals. And they do everything right, and they take the time to put in the correct quality control, so you're not getting anything less than what they promised, which is nearly perfection. Again, check out down below. You have just under 2 weeks for the campaign. If you want a great deal on a watch, I mean, you're not going to be disappointed in anything that comes out of MMI. Now, if you like videos and videos like this, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see. This is mostly watches with some random stuff sprinkled in between. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified when I'm dropping all these videos. Until the end of the year, it's gonna be at least one video every single day. So make sure you check them out. A lot of good stuff coming in the future. The subscribe button doesn't cost you anything. The like button really does help the algorithm. And stick around. I have a giveaway at 15,000 subscribers for a Tissot PRX Powermatic 80 to one of you guys, just for my appreciation. So I'll see you guys in the next one.